You've been doing all the right things. You've been agreeable. You've been supportive. You've been the good husband. You're the one who suggests date nights, who asks, "How was your day?" Who takes the hits and swallows the quiet resentment, because you believe that's what a man is supposed to do. You've tried to be the peacemaker. You've tried to be the emotional thermostat for the entire house, constantly adjusting your own temperature to keep everyone else comfortable. And it's killing you. It's not working. The silence in the house is now louder than the yelling ever was. The connection you're fighting for feels more like a memory than a reality. You look at the woman you love, and you see a stranger. Worse, you look in the mirror, and you see a man you don't even respect. You've become a fixer, a manager, a ghost. They tell you marriage is about compromise. They tell you, happy wife, happy life. They tell you to be vulnerable, to be a nice guy, to put the relationship first. But that is a half-truth, and a half-truth is the most dangerous lie of all. You've compromised so much that you've compromised yourself. You've become so focused on not losing her that you've already lost you. And the real, brutal truth is this. The man you've become to save the marriage is the very man she can no longer love. This isn't about assigning blame. This is about waking up. The real reason the marriage is failing isn't the finances or the chores or the lack of sex. The real reason is that the man she married, the one with the fire, the one with the spine, the one with a mission, left the building, and you're the one who let him go. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to stop managing a dying relationship and how to start leading your own life. You will understand the precise moment you traded your power for a hollow peace, and you will learn how to reclaim your center, not to win her back, but to save yourself. The single most destructive idea sold to men is that your primary purpose in a relationship is to make her happy. It's a trap. It turns you from a partner into a performer. It makes you responsible for an emotional state that you cannot and should not ever control. The moment you accept that burden, you lose. You start to walk on eggshells. You stop speaking your truth because it might cause conflict. You stop pursuing your own goals because they might take time away from us. You suppress your own ambition, your own energy, your own disagreements, all in the name of keeping the peace. You think you're being loving. You think you're being a good partner. What you're really being is dishonest. You're presenting a carefully managed, filtered and weaker version of yourself, believing that this safe version is what she wants. But a woman cannot be attracted to a man she doesn't respect, and she cannot respect a man who has no edges, no conviction, no center of his own. She doesn't want a servant who orbits her, desperate for approval. She wants the man who has his own orbit, his own gravity, the man she chose to join. When you make her happiness your sole mission, you communicate a devastating truth, that your own happiness, your own purpose, is secondary. You become a reflection, not a source. You thought being agreeable was the same as being good. It wasn't. It was being empty. She didn't fall in love with a man who asked for permission. She fell in love with a man who had direction. Your job isn't to make her happy. That is her job. Your job is to be the most grounded, centered, and purposeful version of yourself you can be. Your job is to be the man who can stand in the storm, calm, steady, and unbroken, not the one who tries to negotiate with the rain. When you're anchored in your own truth, you give her the one thing she truly needs, a man she can trust. But when you sacrifice your own soul to please her, you both end up with nothing. This leads us to the great psychological mistake men make. We try to fix the relationship. We are builders. We are problem solvers. When the engine in the car knocks, we get out the tools. When the business is failing, we analyze the spreadsheet. It's what we do. So when the relationship, the most important thing in our life, starts to feel broken, we default to our programming. We grab our metaphorical tools and we get to work. But you cannot fix a human connection like it's a leaky faucet. You start managing the relationship. You become a detective of her moods. You analyze her tone of voice. You measure the time it takes for her to text you back. You initiate the talk over and over again, believing that if you can just find the right combination of words, the right logical argument, You can solve the emotional puzzle. If I just do this, you think, then she will feel that. This isn't leadership. This is control. And control is just fear wearing a suit. You're not being a partner, you're being a project manager. You're tracking key performance indicators of her affection. You're scheduling intimacy. You're trying to debug her soul. This fixer energy, this anxious need to do something, is suffocating. It's needy. It's weak. It screams to her on a primal level that you are terrified of losing her. And this fear becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more you try to fix the dynamic, the more you communicate that you are not the center of your own life. You prove to her that she is your center. You've made her your purpose. This is the heaviest burden you can place on a woman. She's not designed to be your source of identity. She's designed to be your partner, your ally, your other, but not your God. When you try to manage her feelings, you stop leading your own life. You're not fixing the relationship. You're becoming a full-time employee in a job you were never meant to have. You're trying to patch a dam that's already broken, and you're losing yourself in the flood. The hard truth is you can't negotiate attraction. You can't convince her to respect you. You can't logic your way back to passion. The attempt itself is the very thing destroying it. So you lose your frame. This is the core of it all. A man's frame is his reality. It's his mission, his principles, his non-negotiables. It is the internal structure that holds him up, independent of anyone else's approval or disapproval. It's the calm, unshakable knowledge of who he is and where he is going. When a man has a strong frame, he is a mountain. The wind blows, the rain falls, storms crash against him, but he does not move. He is a point of stability in a chaotic world. A relationship is meant to be two sovereign individuals choosing to walk the same path. But when you lose yourself in the name of us, your frame collapses. You become emotionally reactive. Her bad mood ruins your day. Her criticism shakes your self-worth. Her lack of validation makes you question your entire purpose. You become a leaf in her wind. You start bending your principles to avoid a fight. You say yes when your soul is screaming no. You apologize for things that aren't your fault. You abandon your hobbies, your friends, your goals, because you're afraid they'll create distance. You're so terrified of the relationship ending that you end yourself first. This is the great paradox. The very thing you are doing to make yourself safe and agreeable is what makes you profoundly unsafe to her. A woman cannot feel secure with a man who has no backbone. She cannot trust a man who will fold under pressure. How can she trust you to have her back when you won't even have your own? You've become a nice guy, and the nice guy is the most dishonest man of all. He isn't nice, he's covertly negotiating. He's nice in exchange for approval, in exchange for sex, in exchange for a lack of conflict. It is a transaction rooted in weakness. She doesn't want your niceness. She wants your truth. She would rather have the raw, difficult, challenging truth from a man who respects himself than the placating, agreeable lies from a man who is terrified to stand on his own. So what is the way out? It's not another talk. It's not a vacation. It's not a new strategy to manage her emotions. The way out is a complete withdrawal from the role you've been playing. You must stop being the fixer, the manager, and the peacemaker. You must, in essence, be willing to lose the relationship in order to save yourself. This is the most terrifying and the most necessary step. This isn't about being cruel. It's not about being distant or manipulative. It's not a tactic. If you do this as a tactic, as a new way to fix her, you've already failed. She will smell the inauthenticity on you. This is an internal shift. It is a fundamental uncoupling of your identity from her validation. The goal is to stop orbiting her and to re-establish your own gravity. This is the work. It is the silent, unglamorous and lonely work of rebuilding your own foundation. It starts with you asking yourself the questions you've been avoiding. Who was I before I became this? What did I stand for? What mission did I abandon? It means you get up in the morning and you focus on your day. You go to the gym. Not because you read it makes you more attractive, but because you are reclaiming your own physical strength. You dedicate yourself to your work, not just as a provider, but as a craftsman, as a man with a purpose. You read the book, you learn the skill, you pursue the mission. You start piece by piece to build a life that you yourself respect. You stop measuring the success of your day by the quality of her mood. You must, in effect, become indifferent to her emotional state, not in a cold way, but in a solid way. You can be loving, you can be present, but you are no longer responsible for her feelings. You are the mountain, and her feelings are the weather. You will be there through the weather, but you will not become the weather. When you do this, a strange and difficult thing will happen. The system will fight back. When you stop being the anxious, placating fixer, you create a void. You have changed the rules of the dance, and she will, consciously or unconsciously, test your new frame. She will try to pull you back into the old dynamic. She might pick a fight. She might withdraw. She might accuse you of not caring. This is the moment of truth. This is where 90% of men fail. She is testing the foundation. She's kicking the walls to see if the structure is sound. She is asking without words, "Are you really back? Is this strength real, or is it just another trick to manage me?" If you fold, if you apologize, if you get defensive, if you revert to the old anxious fixer, you're done. You have proven that your strength was a lie. But if you hold, if you can stand in that fire, calm, steady, and unblaming, if you can look at her with love and not be emotionally thrown, if you can validate her feelings without sacrificing your own principles, I understand you feel that way, but I am not going to argue. If you can show her that you will not be emotionally blackmailed and you will not crumble just because she is upset, something profound happens. You're no longer the reactive boy. You're the steady man. You're not asking for her respect. You are commanding it by respecting yourself. This is not aggression. This is clarity. This is the re-emergence of the man she wanted all along. The man who has a spine. The man who is not a puppet to her emotions, but a pillar she can lean against. The goal is not to save the marriage. The goal is to save you. And in saving you, in reclaiming your own soul, you give the marriage its only real chance to survive. Because now she is not dealing with a ghost, she is dealing with a man. You might be hearing all this, and that old fixer part of your brain is already spinning. You're thinking, okay, this is the real fix. I'll be a mountain, I'll be strong, I'll be indifferent, and then she'll respect me, then she'll come back. You're still looking for the magic button. You're still trying to manipulate the outcome. Let me be clear so there is no confusion. The marriage may already be over. You may have eroded your own respect for so long that there's nothing left to salvage. She may be so far gone that even the return of the man she married won't be enough. This may not work to save the relationship, and you have to be okay with that. You have to understand that you are not doing this for her. You are not reclaiming your frame to get a result from her. You are doing this for you. You are doing this because you're tired of being a ghost in your own life. You are doing this because you are done being a man you cannot respect. You are faced with two paths. You can continue to be the fixer, the manager, and the hollow man. You will lose her, maybe not today, but eventually. And worse, you will have lost yourself in the process. You will be a man who compromised his soul for nothing. Or you can choose the hard path. You can choose to stand up, reclaim your center, and build yourself into a man of integrity, strength, and purpose. And you might still lose her, but you will have saved yourself. You will have won the only battle that ever truly mattered. A man's primary commitment is not to his partner, it is to his truth. It is to his mission. It is to the man he is building himself to be. From that foundation, all healthy love becomes possible. Without it, all love becomes a negotiation. Stop trying to be the man she wants and start being the man you respect. Because the real tragedy isn't a marriage that ends. The real tragedy is a man who disappears trying to save it. You don't need more relationship advice. You need a spine that doesn't bend to the weather. Subscribe now, because the world doesn't need more talk. It needs men who actually show up.